Hey sisters, and welcome back to today's Bible study. We're in the book of Isaiah and we are on chapter 15 today. We finished off chapter 14 with Yah's promise to rescue his people from Babylon, and notice that Assyria and the Philistines will also be punished as well. So at the moment, Yah is judging all the nations in a way to show Israel that their enemies are going to also be facing judgment as well, just like they did. So now we are on Moab's judgment, so let's get right into it. The burden of Moab. Because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. Because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. So for some context, Moab is the unfortunate offspring between Lot and one of his daughters. If you know, you know. So that's where the Moabites came from, one of those sons. And at the time they were one of the great enemies of Israel. So there's a little bit of conflict there, because on one hand they're related to Israel, because this was Abraham's nephew's son's descendants. And also David's great-grandmother was also a Moabite as well. So there's a lot of sadness here when Isaiah is describing the coming judgment on Moab for that very reason. He has gone up to Bachith and to Dibon, the high places, to weep. Moab shall howl over Nebo and over Medeba. On all their heads shall be baldness, and every beard cut off. We have a vision of a Moabite man who is running away from the destruction, and he runs straight to his temple and to his pagan gods for mourning and protection. In their streets shall they gird themselves with sackcloth, on the tops of their houses and in their streets everyone shall howl, weeping abundantly. And Heshbon shall cry, and Elealeh, their voice shall be heard even unto Jahaz. Therefore the armed soldiers of Moab shall cry out, his life shall be grievous unto him. So there's a lot of devastation happening in Moab, which is what's being described here. Lots of howling and crying and screaming. My heart shall cry out for Moab, his fugitives shall flee unto Zoar, a heifer of 3 years old. For by the mounting up of Luhith with weeping shall they go it up. For in the way of Horonaim they shall raise up a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrim shall be desolate, for the hay is withered away, the grass faileth, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have laid up, shall they carry away to the brook of the willows. So we have a vision here of people fleeing, carrying their possessions with them. They are now refugees, and the grass is withered away and no longer green. For the cry is gone round about the borders of Moab, the howling thereof unto Eglim, and the howling thereof unto Birilim. For the waters of Dimon shall be full of blood. For I will bring more upon Dimon, lions upon him that escapeth of Moab, and upon the remnant of the land. So everyone is hearing the cry, and everyone on the borders of Moab is seeing God's judgment against them. And then he sends at the end, he says lions are going to be sent. So if the judgment of that attack that happened at night wasn't enough to complete the judgment, God would send lions upon those who escape. His judgment will be complete. I think that's interesting that that's said, because I think in the previous chapter, was it 13? I made reference to being hunted like a lion. Yeah, it was 13 here. It should be chased as a chased roe or gazelle. So we made reference to them being hunted basically like a lion. You can't escape. His judgment is complete. No one will be able to escape the final judgment. Ooh, there we go. A short one. This one actually was short, just because it's basically a big description of what it's going to be like when Moab are punished. So yeah, it's sad, because really the Moabites should have been allies with Israel. They were related, but they were one of Israel's cruelest enemies. They were heavy on their paganism, their idol worship, and they rejected Yah. And Assyria would then go through and be used as judgment upon the cities that are mentioned here. But unlike Judah, Moab are not going to be delivered. There is no remnant delivered. No one was saved. No one chose to accept Yah. And so the army was not going to be able to do anything to stop what was coming. And even the refugees who fled would get to as far as like the Dead Sea, but their wailing would be heard everywhere, and lions will be sent to hunt down any who escaped. So yikes. I mean, that's a clear message of why we need to repent. So yeah. Okay, so next chapter, we're seeing judgment upon Moab now, so we'll read that one next. Thank you for joining me. I know it's a little bit intense at the moment with all the judgment happening, but it is important that we get that message of the consequences of what happens when someone rejects Yah, and when nations reject Yah. So that's it for now. Please do leave thoughts, takeaways, comments in the section below. Remember, Jesus loves you. Lord willing, I'll speak to you soon, and until then, have a blessed day. Bye. Eliale. Okay, scrap that withered away bit.